Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to our second Cookie Lunch and Learn. We're glad that you could join us. And in a second, we'll get moving. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can ask a question. On the right side of your screen, there's a question box. You can type your question in there. That's the preferable way. Some of them might be answered in writing just to you, and some of them will answer out loud for everybody. If you have a really complicated question, or if we are confused by your question, then please raise your hand and one of us will unmute you so that you can ask it verbally. So we're going to start just with a couple of things today about setting troop goals. Because we feel like some troops, especially the new troops, there's so much to learn about the cookie sale that sometimes this part goes unnoticed or passed by. So it's very important for your troops to set goals for what they want to sell. And this is a learning process and an advancing process for the girls. So you start out as a daisy troop, and of course the leaders really need to pretty much make all the decisions because the girls are so young and they're just learning too. So minimally, you might want to set a goal for each girl in your troop to earn the patch for 35 boxes, the theme patch. And that would be good because if everybody reaches that goal, and it's really a very easy goal to reach, then everyone will have a patch and no one will be disappointed. But we know that daisies are very excited about selling cookies, and usually their parents are very excited too. So they often sell over 100 boxes. So a better goal might be for each girl to earn the reward at the 75 box level. She also would get the patch for 35 boxes because all the rewards are cumulative. Or your troop might want to really go for bold and set 110 boxes on initial order as your goal. If you reach that, you really only have to reach a per girl average of 110. So if some girls sell 120 and some girls sell 80 and somebody sells 150, when you add up all the boxes that were sold and you divide by the number of girls in the troop, that's your per girl average. And if that comes out to 110, then your troop is going to earn 75 cents a box profit instead of 70. So that's a good goal for a lot of reasons. And of course, if they reach that, they've already earned the patch, but they won't get the patch until the end of the sale because that's a final reward. And they also will have the reward for 75 boxes at the end of the sale. But they'll also have a reward for 110 boxes, an initial order reward, and that they'll receive shortly after the initial order period ends. Now, brownie troops, if they've sold before, then the girls might have some idea what they want to do with their money. They'll know that they're going to receive troop profit from their sales, and they might have some ideas. So if they have some ideas and they can decide on something, then you can figure out as the leader what would it cost the troop to do this, and then you figure out how much does each girl have to sell so that we can reach this goal. Is it a reasonable goal for us? If we reach half of it, will the parents be willing to pay for the other half? So you can come up with a goal for your troop that way. If they're a new brownie troop, then you might want to go back to what we suggested for the daisy troops. Once the girls come to the junior level, they're really starting to do things on their own, and they know about troop profits and what they can do. So those girls should be able to come up with ideas. They might want to do something for themselves. They might want to do something for someone else, a service project, maybe both. So talk to the girls. Let them come up with what they want to do. Let them use their math skills. See if they can figure out how much each of them has to sell to reach that goal. Or you can look over the previous year's sales, or even a couple years' sales with the girls, and help them decide how much they want to increase that by. And of course, when you get to the cadet and senior and ambassador levels, those girls are very experienced. They'll plan everything themselves. Very often when they're cadets, they'll set a long range goal, maybe 2, 3, even a 4-year goal. They want to take a trip. They want to go to Europe. They want to go to Savannah. They want to go to Disney. And so they'll save up for a few years. And those girls are able to come up with everything, the costs of their of what they want to do, how much they have to sell, and they're usually willing to do anything they need to get there. So that's all part of that growth process and learning process that I mentioned. So what can you do to reach your goal? Well, before initial order ends, you can review your troops goal with the girls and remind them of their part in it. You can suggest to girls that they go back to people they missed. They look at their customer list. Did they forget anyone? Did they contact everyone on that list? Can they think of new customers to add to it? If they've had booth sales or cookie sales before, they can go back to who bought from them last year and make sure that they contacted all of those people again. And this is a good idea from our top sellers, that they keep their cookie cards from year to year to make sure that they go back to the same customers and they keep adding. They can add more emails and digital cookie, and they can send reminder emails to the customers that haven't responded with an order yet. And of course, they should take their cookie cards everywhere they go and ask everyone about buying cookies. And don't forget the cookies for the soldiers, because if someone doesn't want cookies for themselves, they might buy a box for a soldier. After initial order, there are several things that the troops and the girls can still do to reach their goals. And if they've already reached their goal, they might want to set a new goal for post-initial period. So troops can hold booth sales. This is an excellent way to increase your troop profits and an excellent way for girls to reach their own reward levels. You can have a booth at any business that will allow you to sell there. We have a lot of opportunities that we will list in eBuddy, and we will send out an email in eBuddy and post on the dashboards to let you know when those sites are going to be open for selection. But you can do a sale any place that you know of as long as you get permission, and any place that has a good foot traffic is a place you want to try. You can also go door to door with cookies in hand during the booth period. We call that a rolling booth. You might want to go around a neighborhood with a wagon, or go in a car, or just have the girls carry a few boxes of cookies. Also, when the girls deliver, they can take some of your extra cookies that you have from rounding up and see if their customers want anything else. You can do a drive-through booth in a parking lot, a good-sized parking lot if you get permission. This is a great thing. You just have your cookies standing there. The car drives in, they roll their window down, they tell you how many boxes, they give you the money, you give them the boxes, and they're on their way. Girls can contact their customers after delivery, maybe a week or two after they've delivered the cookies, to see if they'd like more. Sometimes they'll eat those 2 boxes of mints in the first week, and then they wish that they had ordered more. And they should carry the goal-getter forms with them wherever they go, because again, the main reason people don't buy cookies is because nobody asked them. So take your goal-getter forms and ask those people if they would like to buy cookies. And I think that about does it for our presentation, to kind of get you going and give you a chance to type in your questions. So do we have any questions out there?
We have one question that if you have your eBuddy screen open, I would like you to show where you can look at how your troop did in previous years or what you sold in previous years. Can you just show that on the screen?
Sure. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see eBuddy screen.
Okay. So if you want to look at previous years, this is where all the seasons are. So you can see right now I'm in the preseason. So I'm going to go into last season. Now, obviously, you're not going to see everything I see because I see everything. So you're just going to see your troop. So let's pick out a troop. We always use Airmont because they're right at the top of the list. And let's go to this troop. And we'll go to their sales report. So this troop last year sold a lot of cookies. They sold 1,182 packages of cookies. They had 85 in digital cookie and 36 charity boxes, so OpDrop in digital cookie. So that's where you can see how you did. You can also go back and you can look at your, where is it? Girl orders. Here. You can look at your initial order screen and you can see what everybody had on their initial order. You can go to the girl order screen and see what each girl ordered. If you click on the girl's name, you'll see her orders. And back to summary screen. If you look at transactions, you'll see what you ordered for booth sales. So you can see all of these. Anything that says DOC over here or on any of those screens, that's a digital cookie order. You can see that this troop had 4 orders to a cupboard. Looks like they were picking up cookies for go-getter orders. This one could have been a booth. So that's where you'll see all of that information.
Okay, we have another question, and they say, does digital cookie automatically sync? Does eBuddy automatically sync with digital cookie?
And the answer, go ahead.
The answer is digital cookie. You have 3 options. The customer has 3 options. They can donate cookies, and that automatically syncs with eBuddy. That if they have cookies shipped, that info automatically goes into eBuddy. The girl delivery cookies show up in eBuddy as a total amount of dollars on the girl order screen, but it does not tell eBuddy what boxes are needed, and it doesn't automatically order them. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. That it does tell eBuddy what is ordered on the dashboard, but it doesn't automatically order cookies. Let's see if we can see it on this dashboard, Roberta.
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody who has. Do you want me to look at
the last trip you had? She had a lot of digital orders.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out who had them. It wasn't her.
If you go to the dashboard, won't it show you at the bottom what the digital orders were? If you scroll down a little bit. See on the screen in the lower left, you can see what orders were placed for girl delivery. And each girl, you'd need to have the total of what she needs, and that has to be entered into your initial order for the girl so that you make sure you have the cookies for each girl delivered digital orders.
Right.
Liz, you have the next question?
Sorry, I was on mute. I was trying to answer a few, typing them in. There's a couple of questions about initial order, and I think this is a good time to point out that we are going to have a webinar on Tuesday, March 12th at 6:30 p.m. to go over in detail on how to input your initial order.
And we will have a link to that. There will be a link to that initial order webinar going out in Headlines and Happenings.
Which comes out.
Publication that comes out on Fridays.
And that will come in the form of an email from Girl Scouts to you. So look for those if you're not used to checking them. Look every Friday for an email from Girl Scouts, and it will have Headlines and Happenings, which is important things for troop leaders to know. that there are things about programs and there are things about membership and things about product sales. So make sure you check those on Fridays.
Someone's asking that they read that if the girls hit 110 box per average in the initial order period, they receive 75 cents per box instead of 70. And she wants to know if this applies only to the cookies sold in the initial period or all cookies. And it applies to all cookies. But they must reach that 110 PGA in the initial order.
For a troop. The troop has to reach that 110 per girl average.
Someone else wants to know when they can order cookies for April and May booth sales.
Oh, you can, well, as soon as we open the cupboards for that, which will probably be either later this week or the beginning of next week. We wanted to make sure that the March was all taken care of before we open those cupboards.
Someone else wants to know, booth sale question. Are they split over the girls who were at the booth or not assigned to any girls? The answer is they're not assigned to any girls until you assign them to the girls that were at the booth. And you can split them up evenly or by however many hours they were at the booth.
Do we put the in-person girl delivery order into eBuddy per girl? Or does it automatically generate? So we just were answering that question, that you need the totals for each girl, what she sold in digital that has to be delivered in person. She needs to tell you what her totals are, and that should be added into her initial order. It should be part of her initial order, so the cookies will come on the truck for the girl to deliver. So it doesn't automatically generate, is your wording, Lisa. eBuddy can tell you, as Roberta showed on this, and you can see right now on the screen on the lower left, that's the totals for the girl's initial order that she needs for in-person delivery. Those numbers have to be entered into the initial order for the girl who got those digital orders.
Yeah, and there's a line on the order card, so if they give you their order card, hopefully the parents will put the totals on line 63 of the order card. I've heard from some leaders that they don't physically collect the order cards anymore, that they have parents email them the totals. So just check with your parents and make sure that they have put those in-person delivered cookies into their totals for the girl. And make sure if they're emailing you that you keep a copy of that email. Probably a good idea to print it if you can and keep a copy of it.
I see a question from Carrie saying, do you enter orders for the troops as you would regular orders? I don't understand that question, so if someone else does, please answer.
I think maybe what she's asking is about donated cookies, cookies for Operation Cookie Drop. And if that's your question, if you don't want to physically handle those cookies, then you're going to put that under the op drop column, which let me go to this year, and we can show you where you're going to put that. And we'll be covering this on our webinar on March 12th as well. Just have to wait a little for it to get there. Oh, I probably shouldn't do that because I will confuse people. So let's go here. So here's the initial order screen. All your girls are going to be shown here. And to enter their orders, you're going to click on the girl's name, and you're going to see these little boxes at the bottom. So if this girl, Karina, let's say she has 6 boxes that are being donated, and in this troop, we want them all to go to Operation Cookie Drop, and we don't want to touch those boxes. So I'm going to put a 6 here for her 6 boxes of donated cookies. If my troop is planning to go to the load-in event in June, and we want to physically have cookies to take with us, then I'm going to put them in this GOC column, the 6 boxes, because then I will physically handle them. But if I want to just not handle them, they're virtual. This column, eBuddy adds them all up for us and lets us know at the end of the sale how many cookies we need. And we get those cookies from whatever's left in our warehouses, or we put in an order to the bakery for those cookies so that they can be sent on to the soldiers. So that's where you do them. The op-drop column, if you don't want to touch the cookies, the GOC column, if you do. Other questions?
Yeah, somebody's asking, are we allowed to use a fee for customers using credit cards at booth sales? And the answer is no, you are not allowed to charge an additional fee for credit card use. You're only allowed to charge $4 for the regular cookies and $5 for the 2 specialty cookies.
Someone's asking, do we have to wait until April to sell at non-Girl Scout approved booths? You didn't have to wait until April to sell at non-approved booths. You could have been selling at troop-arranged booth places that you might have found yourself. Girl Scouts just has some spots, and it makes it easier you can get some of the council-approved spots, but you could always have gotten your own spots in March.
However, the orders for March cookies have already been sent in. So if you didn't already set up your site and order your cookies, then it's too late for March. But you can do April and May, right up until May 11th.
Okay, Roberta, would you go to this year and click on Cookie Exchange? Someone would like to know a little bit about the Cookie Exchange tab. I can talk about that, or you can.
Okay, let me get it up here.
So you need to be in a troop.
I'm in a troop.
Okay.
So here is the little button that you're going to press for the Cookie Exchange. Okay, take it away, Marianne.
Okay, so this is a new feature of eBuddy this year, and this should help you manage your extras from when you got your initial order and you had extra boxes. Perhaps you had leftover boxes from a booth. And this is, I call it kind of a digital scratch pad, because you maintain this yourself. For instance, you would have whatever boxes are left over. So let's say you had 4 Savannah Smiles left over. You would fill in 4 Savannah Smiles. When you fill all of these things in with whatever you might have left over and submit it, everyone in your service unit can see that you have those extra boxes. So let's say someone said, I want 2 of those Savannah Smiles. You should go in and remove 2 of the Savannah Smiles so that now your count says 2, and you can transfer the 2 boxes that the other troop took by going into the transactions screen, as you see here, and transfer the responsibility from those cookies from your troop to the other troop. You fill in second party, the other troop number, and then say they've taken 2 of your packages over the packages, since that's a box, and those would move over to the other troop. That will then shift the rewards capability to the other troop. So the girl who sold those 2 boxes gets credit for having sold those. Once the troop gets them, the troop can assign those 2 boxes to the girl. And the $8 owed for those boxes went from the troop that had them over to the troop that got them transferred into them.
Just remember to click OK. Don't click Save and Print, because it doesn't always work. And when you enter your booth sale orders or your goal getter orders to a cupboard, click OK, and then it'll take you back to this screen and click Save, because Save and Print just doesn't always save. It'll print, but it doesn't always save.
So I think this is a great feature because I know when I was out, people would say, do you have any mints back at the house? And I wouldn't necessarily know offhand, but if I had it in this cookie exchange, then it's always in the palm of my hand in my phone that I can look and see what I actually have as leftovers and can sell those because I have an accounting for it right there in my phone.
And what's going to happen is when the person on the other side who wants the cookies, they're going to click on the kind they want, and your troop number would be here, and your contact information, I believe it's your email that shows up. So they would be able to get in touch with you that way to let you know that they wanted those 2 boxes.
Thank you, because someone is asking if I'm looking for available cookies in the cookie exchange, how will that information get to me?
And that's how. It's pretty cool, I think, and you know, it's a good way of sharing information among the troops in the service unit, especially when you get towards the end and you're not going to have any more booth sales, and you've still got, you know, 6 boxes of cookies that you need to dispose of or pay for. So I think it's also great, you know, there's some of the varieties like the Toffee-tastic, which is the gluten-free cookie. If you get Toffee-tastics for a booth sale, you're getting a case because booth sale cookies are purchased or picked up from us by the case. So you might have 2 booth sales and maybe you sold some at each booth sale, but you're left with 3 boxes. And another troop might have a booth sale and they're saying, gee, I don't want to take a whole case of Toffee-tastics, but I wish I had a few, because, you know, that's always good for that person who can't have gluten. And so they might look in here for Toffee-tastics and see that there's a troop that does have 3 boxes of Toffee-tastic, and they'll take them off of your hands because they want them for your booth sale. So that's another good thing. If you're having a later booth sale and you don't really want a whole case of cookies, you can look in here and see if you can get 6 boxes or 3 boxes from somebody else. And that'll help everybody out. More questions?
I think Liz is pretty current on answering people. Liz?
Yes, I think we've caught up.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that if there are troops that are finding they don't have girls in their list of girls that they think they should contact customer care to get those girls entered into eBuddy and potentially send them a digital cookie invitation. Or if you have girls who shouldn't be in your troop who are there, again, contact customer care so we can get your list updated. So there Roberta has clicked on girls and you can see the girls in the troop. And actually, she even shows the shaded ID number for that girl. That girl's been moved to another troop, and eBuddy keeps a record of that. It's helpful that you can see that in here, that she's been moved to another troop.
Yes, this was just luck that it came up this way, because I was hoping that we could show that. So those girls will not leave your screen, but they are blacked out, so to speak. And I don't think they'll show up on your initial order screen, but I'm not sure.
They do, but they don't have a check mark next to them.
Yeah. And the per girl average is based only on girls selling. So if you have girls in your troop who are not selling, we hope you don't do. Or in a case like this, even though those girls' names appear here, the fact that they won't have an initial order in your troop is not going to affect your PGA. It's just based on those girls that have sold.
When do we pick up cookies for March booths?
Well, You should have put into your order the date and time that you were going to pick up your cookies. If you look at your transactions, let's see if this true. Well, I'm not in the preseason, so I can't tell. Let's see if I can find one. Takes a while. If you didn't put in one, or if you didn't realize that's what you were supposed to do and you just clicked on what was there, you can go back into your troop and you can look at, now I'll find one that has them. Am I going to be lucky? No, I'm not going to be lucky.
Look at 40539. I think they might have one.
Okay, they do. So you can see in your transaction screen under pickup, you can see the date. And I think if you, yes, you can also see the time right up here. So you can, the first thing to do would be to look at your screen and see if you have a date and a time in there. If you don't, then please contact the cupboard. Email is the preferable way, and let them know when you want to pick up the cookies, because we try to get those orders pulled ahead of time before you show up at our door, and we do it in the order in which you're signed up to pick up your cookies. So pickup for March booth sales starts on the 7th. The 7th and 8th are days you can pick up for that first weekend of booths, or if you have a booth on Monday or Tuesday of the following week. If you have a booth later in March, you cannot pick up that first weekend because we don't have enough room in any of our cupboards to put all the cookies that have been ordered for March booth sales. So we're saying only if you have a sale that first weekend or the first couple days of the next week will we have your cookies to pick up. So for later booths, you're going to have to pick up at another time. We apologize. We know this can cause a problem for some people who would like to make just one trip to the cupboard. And if we had enough room for all the cookies, it would be easier for us too. But we don't. And so this is the next best thing that we can do.
Someone's asking, when do we need to collect money? At the time the people order the cookies or when we deliver?
And it is the practice of Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson that you collect when you deliver the cookies.
Okay. Someone is asking about digital cookie. Her question reads, how will initial orders in digital cookie be captured? I have a girl who has sold more than 200 boxes in digital, most for in-person delivery. Digital for in-person delivery are going until 5/1. How will parents, troop leaders get a report of in-person digital orders per girl as of what time on 3/9/19? So she's asking, how am I going to break out the initial order needs versus the ones placed after March 9th?
Okay, well, first of all, the transmission of the orders from Digital Cookie to eBuddy is held up on March 9th. They stop the transmission. They don't stop the orders. People can still go in and order, but they're held and they're not transmitted to eBuddy until we tell them to start transferring them. So that way, eBuddy can pull the report for initial order rewards for us, and we can pull reports so that we can see how many cookies girls sold on initial order, and all of the things that we need to find out about initial order, we have time to do. So any of those sales that were for shipping or donation they have already flowed into eBuddy, and they will be in there and they will count towards the girls' initial order. if they were an in-person delivered order and they're put on the girl's order card, then they're going to be in her initial order in eBuddy, and so they will count that way. Any of them that were ordered after March 9th, those cookies will be treated as goal-getter orders. So just as if a girl came to you a week after you submitted the initial order and said, hey, my Aunt Susie just came back to town, she's been away, and she wants to buy 3 boxes of mints and 2 boxes of Samoas and a box of trefoils. Well, that girl would write that on her black and white goal-getter card that you are going to hand the girls when they turn in their colored initial order card, or when their parents send you the initial order. The next time you see the girl, you're going to give her the goal-getter card. She would write that on the goal-getter card, and you as a leader would be telling your girls when you want to collect those orders, and then you or someone from your troop will come to the cupboard and pick up those cookies, and they will count towards her final rewards and the final number of cookies.
Roberta, I think you could also show the reports in eBuddy and show that there's digital reports.
Yep.
And you can break it down by weeks. People could look there if they needed to use eBuddy.
Actually.
They can choose, they can limit what this, when they're looking for.
Okay. Yeah, I want to go to last year, so there'll be something there.
Yes.
I get very impatient with my computer. I want it to respond immediately.
And eBuddy's pretty good. It's pretty responsive.
Okay. So if you go to reports, you will see DOC reports. You can pull up your DOC orders by girl.
Can I just say DOC is digital order card? It's digital cookie.
Okay. Yes, that's very good. And you can filter this. So you could put in a date range. So let's see. Last year, I think we started. Hold on one second. I'm on a webinar. Thank you. And let's see, last year, I don't know when the order ended, but let's say March 8th. I think that was pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to look just for that date range. And I should have selected packages, but I didn't. We'll do that next. Oh, well, they didn't have any. Oh, wait, I'm in this year. Okay, that's not good. And no,
You're in last year.
I'm in last year, but the calendar was this year.
Oh.
Okay. All these things that we have to pay attention to. Okay. And now I'll click on packages.
And what about clicking in hand? Are you just going to show all the orders?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing? Okay.
Okay, so this was all of their digital cookie orders for that period of time. So I think this was initial order period for last year. So that is one thing that you can do. You can also, if you could also eliminate the dates, or you could put dates up there too, and you can do shipped, and this will show you all the orders that were shipped, which you're probably not that much interested in because you really don't have to pay attention to those.
Because they automatically go into eBuddy.
But delivered, this is where your in-person comes in, delivered. And you're gonna look at those. So these are all the girls that had in-person delivery orders. You can see the dates, you can see what they were, and what the amount of money was. So you can do those reports. And this is an Excel spreadsheet, so you can save it and then you could play with it. If you wanted to total up how much Emily had in-person delivery orders, you can do that. You can do whatever you can do in a spreadsheet. You can do with that. Now, let's talk about in hand. In hand really is not the same as in-person delivery. In hand is designed to be used either at a booth sale or if a girl has cookies on her person. So, maybe the troop had extra cookies from initial order, and I said to my daughter, well, take a few boxes of mints and a few boxes of Samoas, because we'll probably run into someone who would like them. So I'm going to use my phone and the digital app, and I'm going to put the order in digital cookie. But when I go to checkout, I'm going to choose in hand as the method of delivery. So that means that I got my cookies as I put my order in. I got it right away. That's what in hand is. It's not the same as in person. If you go to digital cookie app right now, you will not see that option at checkout because we haven't turned it on yet. Because in the past, people have confused it with in-person delivery, and that just kind of messes them up. So it will be turned on in time for the March booth sales.
So one person's question, I believe you just answered. She says, since we have to manually enter into eBuddy the amounts and cookie types for in-person delivery, will there be a way to differentiate which orders were placed by March 9th? We won't get them confused with March 10th orders. And as Roberta said, it will be, the flow of the orders will be stopped temporarily for that March 9th deadline. And then it will be turned on again, so it will be obvious to you. And as she just showed you in the reports section, you can put in a date range into eBuddy on the reports tab and choose the delivered in person to see what you need from the orders that were placed after March 9th.
Right. So if we go back to last year and have the dates in, and we only want in-person delivery, then we're going to see all of the girls' in-person deliveries that were within that initial order time frame. So you can get the information. And just remember, when you're doing the initial order in eBuddy, those in-person cookies are added into the totals from her initial order card. So if you had the card in front of you, it would just be another line on the card, and then you would total all of those initial orders, because you're only entering once. You're not entering in eBuddy, you're not entering those in-person orders separately. You're only entering once. So we saw Sarah, I happen to know her, and she had several in-person delivered orders in that report that we showed. And so those are all included in her initial order numbers, not as a separate line, but just the total initial order numbers.
So to reiterate, if you have digital orders that are shipped, you don't have to do anything. If you have orders that are only donations, the digital order is someone strictly donated 20 boxes. You don't have to do anything with the shipped orders or the donated orders. The in-person delivery orders are the ones you need to have totals for each girl who took orders digitally for in-person delivery. Someone asked, how is she going to fill those orders, those digital orders for in-person delivery? And she was answered that she could get them from the cupboard, or she could use them from the leftover extras. And don't forget, you also have that cookie exchange possibility, that within your service unit there might be people with cookies who would be happy to transfer cookies to you, and you would personally contact them to see if they have cookies that they will transfer to you, and you take responsibility for those cookies and deliver those cookies that are right there in your service unit.
Any other questions?
I don't see any more questions.
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, because we should just say we're going to allow a few minutes still, because there will be people with questions who haven't gotten there yet.
We're getting some now. Someone wants to know where they pick up their initial order of cookies. You would pick them up at your service unit delivery location, which will be announced to you through eBuddy.
And
and the dates are between April 6th and April 14th. I'm sorry, Roberta.
Your service unit cookie chair will probably give you that information, will probably contact you, and you'll be able to sign up in eBuddy for the time that you want to pick up the cookies.
So someone is summarizing what we've just talked about, and she says, my takeaway is that for digital cookie in-person sales to be accurate in initial order, girls who sell cookies for in-person delivery is that troop leaders need to help them fill out line 63 on the order sheets before they complete the totals on line 64 on the form, which is the total that needs to be input into eBuddy. Is that right? And I said, yes, but the parent can put those totals in. The leader doesn't really have to do it. We were showing you the leader, what you would do if you're the the troop cookie chair or the troop leader. If you know the girl has digital in-person delivery orders, you just want to be sure that you know her total is her total, and that the digital orders were put on line 63. So the families can definitely do it and should do it. Your double check is adding it, you as the troop leader, adding to line 63.
And if you collect the order cards, then you're going to see if they've put anything there or not, and then you can double check. If they're emailing you their order, then you have nothing to look at except the totals that they give you. So you need to make sure, you need to check with the parent and say, did you add your digital cookie in-person orders in these numbers? But the way you summarized it was exactly right. Maybe we should have you answering our questions. That was very clear.
In fewer words.
Yes, very clear and to the point.
Someone was asking where she can get more order forms, and she can get more order forms at any regional office, or check with your service unit cookie chair. There may be more order cards right there in your service unit.
Right.
So I'm going to remind people that if they're new to the cookie sale, please be sure that finance has your bank account information and your authorization for ACH. ACH is how we sweep the money from the troop accounts, money owed for cookies. We'll be doing that in May, but finance needs to have all of your information ahead because they've got to make up spreadsheets, submit it to the bank, etc. So they have not updated anyone's banking information in eBuddy, but that could happen at any time. So please be sure you're up to date on your banking information with council. So if you're a new troop, probably you did that. But if you are an existing troop and you change banks, please be sure finance knows about that. The forms for that is on the girlscoutshh.org website, and you could just put in troop bank account. You'll be as a search, you'll find the forms, because we want you to have submitted your ACH authorization form. On Digital Cookie, where do the parents input the information for in-person deliveries? That's on line 63, which is right at the fold. If you opened up your card, it's about in the middle. It's at the fold just before there are totals. I don't see any new questions. If people have questions, please type them in before we wrap up.
Okay, so we'll wait a few minutes if there are more questions. But if you need more help, we are continuing this series of Cookie Lunch and Learn. Please let other leaders know about it if they don't already. Our next session will be on March 11th. We're changing the time. It's going to be from 12 until 1 instead of 12:30 to 1:30. If you look at headlines and happenings on March 8th, there will be a link to register for that session of Lunch and Learn, or you can go to our website, girlscoutshh.org, click on cookies, click on for volunteers, and scroll down, and you'll see a link to the next one, and you'll also see recordings of the first two. The first one is up there, and this one will be up there in a day or two. Any more questions? You see anything coming in?
I see a thank you from a new Daisy Cookie Coordinator. She feels a little more knowledgeable.
Well, good. That's what we're here for. And we always like to hear thank you, so thank you.
Someone's asking if we can't do the next Lunch and Learn, is there a contact for someone we can ask questions to? Melanie, call Mary Ann Brell, because I'm your person, and I am at mbrehl@girlscoutshh.org. Or you can just ask for me on the phone.
And we have still more help at our customer care team. So they have answers to most of the general basic questions about cookie sales. And so if you contact them either by email or by phone, they probably can answer your question. If they can't, then they will send it to one of us on the product sales team, and we will respond back to you. So that's a good starting point for your questions.
This session was recorded, right, Roberta?
If all went well, yes.
And the ACH authorization form that I mentioned, if you put in A as in Albert, C as in Charlie, H as in Harry, authorization form into the search on the girlscoutshh.org website, you'll find it. It will come up. You can also, this is one more question that customer care can help you with. They can email it to you. I'm going to say one more thing that we say in the book since we're talking about banking. If you have a girl who does not turn in the money as she's supposed to, don't pay for her cookies out of your troop funds. There is a finance form that the finance information is in your cookie book, your troop cookie book. On page 12, the different forms. If you have a girl who doesn't pay, do notify finance because the troop should not cover her. Finance will follow up with girls who don't pay, and I don't want the troop to lose out on their profits. So work with finance on that.
Yes, thank you, Marianne. That is very important. And no matter who the parent of that girl is, it could be your best bud. If they don't pay on time and you've reminded them, a couple times, and we're getting up to the ACH time, please submit that form. We've had too many cases where leaders felt bad for the person and put the money in from troop funds or maybe even personally, and they never got paid. So that's what that form is there for. Finance will get in touch with the family, and if they're having a hard time, they will arrange a payment plan with them. But leave it out of your hands. Don't cover it with troop funds. Just send it on to finance. They're very handle it very nicely for as long as they can.
Someone's asking about donations. She wants to know, on the paper order form, is there a way to distinguish who wants to donate Gift of Caring versus Operation Cookie Drop? And there is not a way to distinguish between those two things. I think a troop should choose where they're going to put their donations, whether they're going to the council's Operation Cookie Drop effort, or if the troop has decided that they're going to donate their cookies in a specific place to a charity or to wherever their cookies are going. And it's helpful to fill out the top of the paper order form where it says, we're happy to deliver your donated cookies to, and you fill in that blank, and the girls should know where those donations from their troop are going, so they can tell their customers that. And the name of the form, if a girl does not pay, is the ACH extension and discrepancy form. That would tell the council that you need time because someone hasn't paid. And then you give the council all the specifics, the ACH extension and discrepancy form.
Also, people can pay for cookies with a check. They would make the check out to your troop. If there's any issues, there's also a form to submit if you have bounced checks that you can submit to finance, but I don't know what the name of that form is.
On page 12, it says if you have bounced checks, you submit the ACH extension discrepancy form. And I misspoke a minute ago as Liz typed in the answer. If there's a girl who hasn't paid, you fill out the outstanding balance form. And the ACH extension and discrepancy form is to say that the troop can't meet the deadline. And often these two forms go together because you've got an outstanding balance from a girl. Therefore, your ACH extension and discrepancy form would tell finance you don't have enough to meet what they plan to sweep from your account.
And you could also use that form. Let's say that you picked up 25 cases for a booth sale that you were going to have, and on that day you were going to have it outside and we had a terrible storm, and so you couldn't have the booth sale, or all the kids in your troop got sick, or the adults, and for whatever reason you had to cancel that booth sale, and now you have these 25 cases that haven't sold yet. If that's the reason that you can't meet your full payment, that's another reason to file that form and let finance know that that's the reason that you can't meet the payment and how much you can meet. And they'll work with you on stuff like that. Anything else?
I think that's it.